So I've been playing a lot of chess recently and been struggling against my good teammate who's been trying to teach me, and we've been trying to come up with some variations to make the games a bit closer. And so we tried time control, we tried blindfolded, it wasn't good enough. So we thought we'd try out blindfolded on a pogo stick for some fun. But the problem is that if you're on a pogo stick, you can't really easily input the commands, at least on the online arena that we were using, Lichess. They support a nice interface for the keyboard, inputting the common algebraic chess notation that everything supports for annotating your moves, which is great if you're just blindfolded. But when you're on a pogo stick, you're moving around a lot, so you can't really do that very effectively. So I thought, hey, let's try and spin something up that uses speech recognition to recognize the moves, and it'll send them via the keyboard interface that Lichess exposes to control the game, and we could play that way and hopefully have some fun while doing it. And so I've got a little demo application here where I've started to build that out, and it's working pretty effectively, and I'll show it off now. So I'm gonna start it up here. It's loading the grammar of commands, and then it'll open up a Chrome browser here. Unfortunately, you have to log into your Lichess account because the keyboard interface is only enabled if you're logged into an account, and I've already done that prior to this. But right now it's joined a game I've previously created, and it's now listening for commands. So I'll give it one here. Move knight to c3. The computer responds. Move h2 to h4. Resign. So, not a complete match here, but just demoing some of the functionality that we've got. So, of course, there's a couple different kinds of things that you need to recognize. The common one is just saying the piece you want to move and the square that it's at. If the piece is sufficient enough for describing the move and there's not two pieces of that type, that's a perfectly acceptable input command to give. And so we translate that to NC3, which is the algebraic notation that most people can read if they're up to speed with the game of chess. And then the other common move that you're going to see are coordinate-to-coordinate moves. So I said h2 to h2, and of course that's saying move the piece at this specific coordinate to another coordinate. That worked out well. h2 to h4, move the pawn up. And then finally, the most important command for my opponent, at least, is the resign command, which there's a little button that you can click, or you can type in resign, and it'll happily forfeit the match for you, which it did in this case. And that's the totality of commands that we've got. I think there might be a couple more, but it's mostly just ensuring there's a high degree of confidence when you're recognizing the commands and inputting them, as opposed to having this wide plethora of things that you need to send to it that are hard to parse and or hard to input. So pretty straightforward. Surprised how easy this was to set up with the system speech library that Microsoft provides. It's been working fairly well thus far, and as you can see, didn't have too much problems inputting the ones that I wanted to input in this round, and it didn't actually catch any ones that I didn't want it to catch because I was talking while it was still listening for commands, which is always great to see that it doesn't recognize stuff that you don't want it to recognize, which I imagine as someone's jumping on a pogo stick, there might be some tertiary sounds that are in the background that might confuse it. So we'll continue building this out, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we record the match. Thanks for watching. Bye now.